Hello, it's time for Combat Patrol Carnage. We're back with our final part of issue 23 and it's time for us to learn the rules for Oath of Moment, the faction ability for the Space Marines. So this is a simple scenario. We are in mid-battle, so our units have already taken up position. We're about to bring in our Terminators and we're going to learn what it means to swear an Oath of Moment and take down a key opposing target. So we'll play through the scenario as it's detailed in the book. So won't be much dice involved, as it's going to be sort of just following along with what the guide says, but still it's going to be helpful for us to learn and utilize the faction ability in a future battle. So before we hit the table then, don't forget to do all the usual: like the video, subscribe to the channel and drop me a comment down below. Love hearing back from you and goes a massive way to help the channel. Now that we're getting the faction abilities drip fed to us, it's going to make games a little more interesting. We're not playing any big games at the moment, as most of these tutorials are going to be involving introducing us to the faction abilities, as well as introducing our two new units, the Guardian Defenders and the Wraith Lord. But if you'd like to see more of these in effect, drop me a comment down below and let me know, and I'll try to do some more tutorial-ish videos for you. Finally then, Combat Patrol Carnage is proudly sponsored by warbay.shop, your one-stop supply for all your hobby needs. They've recently updated their Combat Patrol catalogue to include every issue. It is limited to one per customer at the moment, but if you drop them an email, they'll be able to pick you up some extra issues later on once they become available from retail. So let me know, or let them know, by following the link in the video description, checking out other games, checking out Hachette Partworks, and finding the Combat Patrol tab and clicking into that. And who knows, you might find your next hobby project at a bit of a discount. Right then, let's swear our oaths and take to the field of battle. It's time to learn Oath of Moment. And like magic, my models are all built and ready for painting in the next issue. But we're here today to cover our rules, and we're looking at the Oath of Moment. So first off, we'll cover the introduction to our new scenario, and then we'll have a look at the rule in action in a sort of a one-shot, one-turn sort of event. So we'll move this out of the way and adjust the camera, and we can dive right on in. So flipping over past our lore. So here we have our introduction on the Oath of Moment. Oath of Moment. Oath of Moment is a faction ability that allows you to select an enemy unit upon which to focus your force's wrath at the start of your command phase. Once you have selected the unit, you then get a bonus that makes it easier for your troops to hit models in the target unit until the start of your next command phase. Oath of Moment. In battles, Space Marines swear mighty oaths to destroy the enemies of the Emperor and uphold the honor of their chapter, and such vows are sacrosanct. When the angels of death strike, they do so with precision of a surgeon and the force of a thunderbolt. Experience and strategic expertise help them to read the shifting shape of a battle with post-human speed and clarity, directing their wrath towards one priority target after another. Command assets are annihilated, leaving the enemies reeling leaderless. Heavy armor, potent artillery, and vaunted elites of the forces are laid waste with horrifying speed, until the Emperor's Angels of Death stand victorious over a field of smouldering wreckage and bolt-riddled corpses, and honor is finally satisfied. At the start of your command phase, select one unit from your opponent's army. Until the start of your next command phase, that enemy unit is your Oath of Moment target. Each time a model with this ability makes an attack that targets the Oath of Moment target, you can reroll the hit roll. Faction abilities. Oath of Moment is a faction ability, which means that it is only available to models from a certain faction. In this case, the Space Marines. To find the faction ability for your models, look at the datasheets for the abilities in the column on the right. The datasheet will show you all abilities the models have, including faction abilities. So we can see on our examples here, we've got the Space Marine Captain and the Inferno Squad. Both of these have the faction Oath of Moment keyword, so they benefit from this faction ability. Oath of Moment tutorials. To use the Oath of Moment faction ability, you nominate an enemy unit during a command phase to be the target of the ability. You can then re-roll failed hit rolls against that unit. The nominated unit remains the target of your Oath of Moment ability until the beginning of your next command phase. Target Termagants. In this example, the Space Marine player has nominated Termagants during their command phase. They are hoping that this will help them destroy the Termagant unit in a single turn and prevent the Tyrannus player from scoring victory points between now and the next command phase. The Space Marine player can reroll failed hit rolls against this unit. They can only reroll failed hit roll once. They cannot reroll failed hit rolls that have already been rerolled. So yeah, trying to eliminate a high objective control unit with endless amount of fire from the Terminators here. Next up, target Psychophage. In this example, the Space Marines player has targeted the Psychophage. They move the unit of Terminators and the Captain and Terminator armor into position and then charges the Psychophage with them. Oath of Moment ability will help them to increase their chances of making successful hit rolls. Because the Psychophage is a target of the Oath of Moment, the Terminator's Fury of the First ability also comes into play, allowing them to add 1 to their hit rolls. Fury of the First. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack that targets the Oath of Moment target, add 1 to the hit roll. The Oath of Moment ability applies to every separate attack made by every individual model in a unit. This means that if a unit makes multiple hit rolls, they can use the Oath of Moment faction ability to re-roll all of those rolls that did not hit the first time around. And they do not have to also re-roll any of the successful ones. So yeah, double down with the Terminators, that extra +1 makes it effectively hitting on 2+, though it is really just adding 1 to your dice results. So your 2s will become 3s. Either way, it is just a basic sort of increase to your chances of hitting. Yeah, making use of it to get in and do some damage. Because for the high toughness of Psychophage, you want to get as many hits in for as many chances to wound as you can. So, Combat Patrol Tutorial Oath of Moment. Oath of Moment is a faction ability that allows you to receive a bonus while making hit rolls against a pre-selected unit. In this tutorial, we will illustrate the ability with examples from a playthrough of the Clash of Patrols mission. See Core Mission 1. We start at the beginning of turn 2. The Space Marines have advanced towards the objectives. The Inferno Squad has been intercepted by Von Rein's Leapers, and 2 Space Marines have been slain. The Terminator Squad is still in reserve and is preparing to use Deep Strike ability to deploy to the side near the Psychophage. For ease of going through this, we'll show you by setting up my battlefield, and then we'll follow the guide step by step so we can all learn Oath of Moment together. Right, I'll be right back. Right, we're all set up as the magazine dictates. So we've got the Psychophage and the Tyranid Prime holding the centre here. The Librarian is ducked into cover. The Barb Gaunts are controlling Objective 4 and bombarding the enemy with fire. Termagants are here ready to move up to Objective 1. The Leapers are engaged with the Inferno Squad, and the Teleport Homer has come down ready for our Terminator Squad with the Captain. So let's go through this stage by stage. Space Marine's turn. The Space Marine player takes their second turn. In order to maximise the advantage that they gain from the Oath of Moment ability, they will need to select an appropriate target, then manoeuvre their troops into position before deciding which units to fire on and whether to attempt any charges. Space Marine Command Phase. The Space Marine player considers the enemy unit and chooses the Psychophage, as this unit represents a serious danger with its resilience, number of attacks, and its feeding frenzy ability. This choice will remain active through the Space Marine player's current turn and the Tyranid player's turn until the Space Marine player's next command phase. Space Marine's movement phase. As they will get a better chance to hit the Psychophage than usual, the Space Marine player maneuvers their troops into position so that they can have a clear line of sight and fire on the Psychophage. The Space Marine player also considers whether their units will be close enough to attempt a charge and engage the Psychophage in melee. So in the tutorial, the librarian has moved out to here, and then end of movement phase, our Terminators come in with the captain. Ready to assault the Psychophage. Space Marines shooting phase. The Space Marine player decides that they will concentrate all their fire on the Psychophage. Although this is a risk because it leaves the other enemy units unharmed, this will give them the best possible chance of dispatching the Psychophage quickly. The Space Marine player is able to reroll any hit rolls due to the Oath of Moment ability. They're able to chip away a few wounds on the Psychophage through this, and then we move to the Space Marine's charge phase. The Space Marine player successfully charges the Psychophage with their Terminators. The Oath of Moment ability works in combat in the same way it does in the shooting phase, and the Space Marine player is anxious to take every advantage of the Psychophage being the nominated target until their next command phase. So continuing that example, we've managed to successfully charge in. And then we managed to chip off a few more wounds off the Psychophage. So, into the Space Marine fight phase. The Terminators and the Psychophage fight. The Terminators are able to reroll any of their failed hit rolls against the Psychophage due to it being a target of Oath of Moment. The Terminators also add 1 to their hit rolls thanks to their Fury of the First ability. Both the Terminators and the Psychophage will take damage, but neither unit is destroyed. So we've got an example on the next page afterwards. So all of the Space Marine units have the Oath of Moment faction ability. This means that all of them can use the benefits of the ability for both shooting and melee attacks. In this example, the Space Marine player has chosen the Psychophage as a target of his Oath of Moment ability until their next command phase. The Space Marine players concentrate their fire on the Psychophage and can re-roll all of their failed hit rolls. However, the Infernus Marines are in combat with the Von Rhein's Leapers. They continue to fight the Von Rhein's Leapers and cannot re-roll the hit rolls because the Von Rhein Leapers are not the target of Oath of Moment. And with that, it's over to the Tyranids page. So, Tyranids turn. As the Tyranid player takes their second turn, most of the units in both armies are still close to the starting positions, and there are important decisions to be made. The Tyranids player knows that they need to start whittling down the Space Marine force while denying them any tactical advantage. Tyranids command phase. During the command phase, the Tyranids player first allocates themselves a command point and reminds the Space Marine player to do the same. Next, they check to see if any units need battle shock before moving on to score victory points, carefully noting down how many victory points they've gained. Tyranids movement phase. The Tyranid player has realized that if they can engage the Space Marines in combat with several different Tyranid units, the Space Marine player will still have to pick a single unit to be the Oath of Moment target, but won't be able to concentrate all their fire on that single unit. The Tyranid Prime and Termagants move into position. So Tyranid Prime flies out and prepares to charge the Librarian, and the Termagants, utilising an advance move, moves up ready to help him out. Tyranid shooting phase. The Tyranid player decides to open fire on the Librarian in Terminator armor with a nearby unit of Termagants, hoping to soften him up before the Tyranids meet him in melee. None of the other units are eligible to fire as they are either in combat or lack line of sight to a suitable target. Moving on to the Tyranids charge phase. First, the Tyranid player attempts to use the Tyranid Prime to charge the Librarian. The player makes a charge roll and he is successful. The player moves the Tyranid Prime into position. Next, the player repeats the procedure on the Termagants. The Termagants are successful and the player moves them as well. So, getting a nice long charge, but still getting quite a few in melee, and if anything, they can at least swarm objective 2. Tyranids fight phase. The Tyranid player chooses a Psychophage to fight. The player resolves all of their attacks, and the Space Marine player chooses a unit to fight. They select the Terminators. The Overmoment ability lasts until the Space Marine player's next command phase. This means they can still reroll hit rolls against the Psychophage. What they forgot to do was have all their charging units fight first, so it should have been the Prime and the Termagants fighting first, then the Space Marine player would pick a unit, and so on. So we've got another example at the bottom of the opposite page. The first unit that the Space Marine player picks to fight is a Terminator squad. They are still in combat with a Psychophage. The Psychophage is still the overmoment target, and will remain so until the Space Marine's player's next command phase. This means that they will be able to reroll failed hit rolls against the Psychophage until the start of the next turn. Terminator squad can also use the Fury of the First ability, which will increase their chance to hit even further. Terminator squad attacks the Psychophage, adding 1 to each hit roll and re-rolling failed hit rolls. In the attack, the Psychophage is destroyed. And that's the end of our tutorial. So that shows Overmoment in effect, and at the start of their next command phase, the Space Marines can pick a new unit to be the Overmoment target and focus fire on that. You've got quite a few choices. They can either go for the command or they can go for the units holding objectives. But yeah, who knows? How would you complete this battle? For now, let's head back to the magazine. We've got a recap to read, and then we'll see what's in our next issue of Combat Patrol. So back to the magazine, we've got a quick recap. So Oath of Moment recap. To use the Oath of Moment faction ability, you will need to select a target during the command phase. You can then reroll failed hit rolls against that unit. The ability continues through your turn and your opponent's turn until the start of your next command phase. And this ability may trigger other abilities your units have. Things to remember. Pick the target of your Oath of Moment wisely. This is a really powerful ability, and you want to make sure you take full advantage of it by picking an appropriate enemy unit. The Oath of Moment ability interacts with the Fury of the First rule. This means that your Terminators have an additional bonus against the target. Consider carefully which units to choose and how to get the most from this rule. The Oath of Moment ability allows you to reroll failed hit rolls for both shooting and melee attacks. The Oath of Moment target remains the active target until the beginning of your next command phase. This means that it will last through all of your turn and through all of your opponent's turn. So yeah, there we go. Just remember to pick your targets wisely, synergize with your other units that benefit from this ability, reroll both hits for melee and shooting, and don't forget to make full advantage before your next command phase when you'll need to pick a new target. So there we go. That's how we integrate Oath of Moment into our games of Warhammer 40,000 Combat Patrol. So hopefully we'll see a proper game where we get to use it for ourselves, not just a tutorial mission. But nothing stopping you playing a game in between this and the next issue. So speaking of the next issue, we have part 2 of our Eldari Guardians, which, as you can guess, I've already filmed the introduction for and built the squad. So now I'm off to get some red all over them, ready for our paint guide in issue 24. So we also learn about the fall of the Eldari, and we return to the Silver Templars. Then in issue 25, it's a paint issue, and we get 2 shade paints. So Non-Oil and Caribou Crimson. I must admit, I'm kind of disappointed we don't apply the red to the armor of our Guardians. Perhaps we're going to be doing a slightly different colour for it, but very odd anyway. We're just applying the Non-Oil, which is onto our helmets for all of our Eldari models. The only time we use Caribou Crimson on the Eldari is the Cloak of the Farseer. Other than that, we do use it on all our other models. So our Space Marines, we're using it to recess shade all our armor panels. We're also using it on our Tyranids to shade all their skin with the red and their armor with the black. Plus we get that new shade brush to try out as well. We learn about the Tyranid faction abilities in the issue as well. So there's going to be another tutorial much like this one, focusing on all the benefits the Tyranids can bring to the table. And of course we get an in-depth paint guide utilising our new paints, and there are a couple of lore articles as well. So that's it for this issue. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've found the tutorial on utilising over moment helpful. And I can't wait to actually try it out in a full-size game for ourselves. Not looking like we'll be doing that for a while. Most of the next few battles are tutorial games, introducing our new units and learning other faction abilities. But yeah, some good issues to come anyway. Looking forward to getting the paint on these guys, and I can't wait to get around to that Wraith Lord, which is issue 26. But all what's left for me to do is say thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you next time on more Combat Patrol Carnage. Goodbye.